Harry's First Birthday by WeightyGhosts. July 31st, 1981, 2:03 p.m. The door swung open on the first knock and revealed Lily Evans, dressed in a lovely lemon yellow party dress. Her demure appearance at odds with the absolute furious look on her face. "You're late," she said, disdain in every syllable. Sirius threw his hands up in the air in exasperation. 3 minutes, he exclaimed, as Remus winced apologetically. Lily's eyes roamed over them, frowning as she took in their slightly sweaty faces and ruffled clothing. "Why are you so messy and out of breath?" Remus turned to his boyfriend and raised his eyebrows expectantly. "Sirius, care to explain?" Sirius shot him a quick glare that very clearly said, "You traitor," before addressing Lily. "It's just excitement. We're breathless from excitement for Harry's birthday." Lily looked between the two of them, and Remus could have sworn he saw steam coming out of her ears a split second before she reached out and smacked Sirius on the shoulder. "Hey!" Sirius protested, rubbing the sore spot. Remus had forgotten how scary Lily can be sometimes, and he was relieved to see she didn't have her wand on her. He said a tiny thank you to the misogynist who made dresses without pockets. Lily leaned in, poked both of their chests in emphasis, and angrily whispered, "If you are late for my son's birthday because you were shagging, I am going to eviscerate you." Lily felt his neck and cheeks heat up. "We weren't planning on it," Remus interrupted loudly as he threw an arm around Remus and nuzzled into his side. "Sorry, Lils, you're right. We weren't planning on it, but yes, we were shagging. That's why we're late." Remus stared at his boyfriend, too shocked and embarrassed to say anything, as Sirius brought his other hand up to pat Remus's chest affectionately. "Can't keep his hands off me," Sirius said. "You know how he is. Utterly insatiable, this one." 21 minutes earlier. "Yes," Remus whispered in Sirius' ear. "Right there." "Remus," Sirius closed his eyes and took a deep steadying breath as he lowered his wand. "If you don't shut your bloody mouth, I'm going to have to drag you to bed, and then we'll never make it to Harry's birthday, and James will be forced to watch his wife murder his 2 best mates right in front of his eyes." "Sorry," Remus chuckled and took a large step away from Sirius. "But you're the one who insisted on doing this right now." "Because I'm tired of our neighbors ogling your beautiful body," Sirius repeated for the 10th time that day. That morning he had finally snapped and left Remus at the breakfast table, disappearing for an hour and a half, coming back with their flat with an armful of fabric. Sirius raised his wand once more, securing the curtains above the window in their sitting room that faced the building next door. Sirius grinned at his handiwork, then turned to Remus and wrapped his arms around his neck. "Now those perverts can't look in, and I'm the only one who gets to ogle you." Remus rolled his eyes, simultaneously placing his hands on Sirius's hips in a subconscious gesture. "You say that as if I walk around stalkers all the time, which I do not, and certainly not in front of the curtainless window." "Curtainless no longer, darling." Sirius wiggled his eyebrows and leaned in, remembering the last moment to flick his wand, and the curtains zoomed shut. "There. Privacy." He smiled at Remus and placed a light kiss on his lips. They stood side by side to admire the newest feature of their flat. Remus tilted his head after a quiet moment. "Is it just me, or do those flowers look like a female genitalia?" "What?" Sirius made a choking noise after squinting at the flowers in question. "Damn it, Mooney!" he shouted, practically stomping his foot. "Now that's all I see." He shoved a laughing Remus away from him. "Well, you better get used to your new idea, to our new vagina curtains, because They are staying. I can't go back to that fabric place. It was absolute nightmare. Remus placed a comforting hand on his shoulder, but Sirius eyed in suspicion. It's alright, Padfoot, Remus cajoled. We can keep the vagina curtains. He kissed the top of Sirius's head, then turned to put his shoes on. We really should be heading out now. We don't have to be there until 2, Sirius said, frowning in confusion. You said, you know we're wizards, right, Moons? And we can apparate in a blink of an eye. Remus shot him a look. You said this morning you wanted to take the bike to show Harry. Oh, right. Sirius's face lit up with a unique combination of excitement and fondness that was reserved for his godson. I forgot. All right, let's grab my socks while you grab Harry's gift. Ha ha. Sirius blinked at him. What? 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 Remus repeated, standing in front of him tying his shoelaces. Can you go get Harry's gift? Remus rolled his eyes, not in the mood for any of this as their window of getting to James and Lily on time became narrower and narrower. You did this with the engagement party gift, Pats, and you were hiding it in the coat the entire time while I ran around the flat looking for it. Sirius snorted. You were so frazzled you didn't even think you used your wand to summon it, he chuckled to himself, then focused back on Remus. But that was a joke. I can't make that joke if I don't have the gift. Remus pinched the bridge of his nose. Sirius, you do have it because I gave it to you last weekend. No, you didn't. Are you kidding? Remus asked in a deadpan. Of course I did. I brought it on my way home from work and gave it to you to wrap. Sirius gasped rather dramatically. You will never give me something to wrap. You know I'm awful at it. Sirius, this isn't funny anymore. We have to go. We can't. I don't know where Harry's gift is. You're saying you lost Harry's gift. No, I'm saying you lost Harry's gift. Remus growled in annoyance. He took out his wand and, as he said in a clear voice, Accio Harry's gift. Nothing happened. I told you I wasn't hiding it. What are we going to do, Sirius? 4 minutes later. I need to buy an infant starter room, please, Sirius yelled, slamming onto the counter of Writers and Flyers shop in Diagon Alley. Sold out, the young person behind the counter said, hardly looking up from their magazine. No, Sirius groaned. Why? Because they've all been sold out. A muscle in Sirius's jaw twitched and Remus stepped in. There's a Quidditch shop down the road. Let's try the... Closed on Sundays, the cashier mumbled. Sirius glared at the thoroughly unhelpful person, and Remus, not so subtly, took his hand and pulled him away a few steps. What about that toy shop in Celsia? Remus suggested before turning to the cashier. Do you know if the toy shop in Sashel is open? Yes, they replied in a bored phone. I know the hours of all toy shops in Wizarding London. You're a real treat, you know that? Remus said as he dragged a seething Sirius outside. He apparated them on spot, arriving moments later in the landway behind Marvin's marvelous Mistletoe, and they ran to the front, dashing inside to look around frantically at the products stacked in the ceiling. I don't see anything, Sirius complained. Me neither, added Remus, as they met back at the front at the shop. Something I can help with, chaps? Asked a small, elderly gentleman behind a clutter counter. The man was so small they hadn't even seen him when they'd come in. Yes! Sirius rushed over to him. Please tell me you have an infant starter room. I believe we have a few left in the storeroom, the man replied, standing up so slowly from the stool that he'd been hunched over that Remus was certain the man was about to kneel over. Remus and Sirius' eyes met as the man moved at a snail's pace to a door that was open to a set of stairs going down. It was just their luck that their possible savior would be the world's slowest wizard. The man reached his destination at long last and took out his wand, waving it in a familiar pattern. A small broomstick came flying up from the stairs a second later. Just the one, apparently, he said cheerily, levitating the broom alongside him. Must be your lucky day. Must be, Sirius muttered, trying not to fidget too much as he and Remus watched the shopkeeper shovel back to them. That will be 22 galleons and 16 shekels, said the man. Would you like this gift to be wrapped today? 7 minutes later. I swear Harry could have outrun him, Sirius said incredulously once they left the shop after the elderly man had finally finished wrapping the broom. And Harry can't even walk yet. Remus' only response was a groan when he checked his watch and saw the time. It's 2. They grabbed each other's hands and spun on the spot, their feet landing seconds later in a huge puddle of mud. Ugh, Sirius exclaimed. Ugh, Remus echoed, though not about the mud. You apparated us to the graveyard again. I didn't mean to, Sirius whined as he took in their surroundings. They quickly walked out of the slush towards the pavement and used their wands to clean off their clothes and shoes. I kept thinking, don't go to the graveyard, don't picture the graveyard, don't think about the graveyard. But once I try not to think about something, that's all I can think about. Well, you've lost your operation privileges, Remus declared. Back to side along for you. Yeah, Sirius rolled his eyes. Won't matter anyway once Lily kills us for being late. They ran. 3 minutes later. Utterly insatiable, this one. Lily snorted. Insatiable? Remus? She gave Sirius an unimpressed, disbelieving look. From what I've heard, it's the other way around, but never mind that now. Lily opened the door wide. Come in. Everyone's waiting for you. I'll just have to eviscerate you at a later date, she added with a freakishly cheerful smile. And as soon as Lily had turned around and left the two of them on the doorstep, Sirius dropped his arm from Remus's waist and they rounded on each other at the same time. What was that about Shag? No, wait, what have you been telling Lily about her sex life? No, Sirius, don't change the subject. Why did you tell her we were shagging? Seemed safer than admitting I lost Harry's gift and had to buy a replacement at the last minute. Why would shagging seem safer, you nutter? It was a quick decision, Moony. Sirius ran his hand through his hair, fluffing it up to perfection. Let's argue about this later, yeah? It's my godson's day, he finished with a grin. Remus couldn't help but smile at his ridiculous boyfriend, and they stepped inside together, following the sounds of the party. Sometime later. So, what was the real reason you were late then? Remus whipped his head around to a smirking James sliding next to him on the sofa. Reason feigned ignorance as he accepted the butterbeer from James held out for him. What? There's no way you two were late because you were shagging, he said, to which Remus raised an eyebrow. Sirius doesn't have that horribly self-satisfied look come in when he's just eaten an entire Christmas dinner and you could go for a 4-hour kip. Remus bit his lip to keep from laughing. There was nothing he could say to that, since it was entirely true, and Remus was long past any embarrassment about James knowing things like that about Sirius. Don't know what you're talking about, Bronx. You had to dash out last minute to buy a new present for Harry, didn't you? Yeah, that's exactly what happened. And it was Sirius's fault. Of course. Moony! Shouted an indignant voice behind him. James and Remus looked over their shoulders to see Sirius standing there, Harry perched on his hips. Betrayal! Baba, no, Harry babbled. That's right, little Potts. Sirius nodded at Harry, ignoring Remus's exaggerated eye roll. Uncle Mooney betrayed your Uncle Padfoot. Moo moo. Well said, son, James cooed, reaching out to tuck Harry's little foot. It's now a good time to tell Uncle Mooney that Uncle Padfoot actually dropped off your gift last weekend, and it's on the table over there with the rest of the gifts. Remus really wished he hadn't chosen that moment to take a sip of his butterbeer. Harry squealed with laughter as the drink sprayed from Remus's mouth all over himself and the floor. Remus turned to Sirius with wide eyes, butterbeer dripping from his chin. Sirius's face was frozen for a moment before the light seemingly went to his mind. Oh, he breathed, drawing out the vial slowly. I forgot I did that. You specifically did that so you wouldn't forget it today, James said, with barely concealed amusement on his face. How? Remus shook his head. There were too many possible endings to that question. He eventually went to, how am I in love with you? Sirius passed Harry to James and plopped himself down in Remus's lap, leaning into him with a smile. Little drops of Ormatentia in your morning tea for 2 years now, Moons. Ah, that explains it then. Remus sighed into Sirius's kiss. Sirius broke away after a moment and turned to James. Speaking of love and tea, you and the wife and kid want to come around tomorrow. I feel like I never get to see you. You see me all the time. James chuckled, bouncing his son on his lap. Lily is actually concerned we have codependency issues. That's absurd. He just wants to show you your our new curtains, Bronx, Remus said. You got new curtains? Not just any curtains. Yep, Sirius loudly interjected, elbowing Remus sharply on his side. Normal curtains with nothing on them. Say, is Harry walking yet? I can't remember. James immediately fell for Sirius' diversion, launching into a story about how he was pretty sure he saw Harry take a step the other day, though he wasn't sure if it counted when Harry was holding onto the sofa. Sirius turned his head so James couldn't see him winking at Remus, who placed a kiss on Sirius's cheeks. Oh! Remus' eyes lit up just as James finished his third story about Harry possibly walking for the first time. I just thought of something. Wasn't it Frank and Alice's kid's birthday yesterday? We can give the second broom to them. Sirius gasped and clutched Remus' shoulder. Yes, Mooney, you figured it out. It was my plan all along to give the second broom to, Niall? Neville, James corrected under his breath. Right, Neville. Neville loves everything about Quidditch. He told you that, did he? Remus asked sarcastically. He told Harry. Who told me? Sirius confirmed with a nod. Badu. Remus pulled Sirius closer to him so he could hide his grin in his boyfriend's hair. As Sirius and James praised Harry for his obvious brilliance, Remus and Lily's eyes across the room. Remus met Lily's eyes across the room, and they shared exasperated fond smile. Remus couldn't explain how he had ended up there with his nut of a boyfriend, but he truly didn't imagine his life any other way. Vagina curtains and all. Hello! Thank you for watching this video. I really like this fact. I read it today and I immediately want to record it when I got home. Well, like I said, I hope you enjoyed this video and have a very nice day. Bye!